The sky was red. The air smelled like smoke and metal. Nothing was alive on the surface anymore. Earth was quiet now. Cities had turned into ash. Forests were gone. Oceans had dried into black mud. Giant alien machines, shaped like spiders with glowing green eyes, walked slowly across the land. They were looking for the last humans. They were called Zeltrax. Nobody knew where they came from. One day, they just arrived from the sky in ships as big as mountains. They said nothing. They wanted no peace. They only destroyed. Human armies fought back, but they were no match. The Zeltrax used weapons that bent gravity, melted tanks, and shut down satellites. Earth fell in just 9 months. But not all humans died. Deep underground, in a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, a small group of survivors still breathed. They were dirty, tired, and always afraid. But they were not broken. Their leader was a man named Rayan Knox. Rayan was once a soldier. Before the war, he had a family, a wife, a little girl who liked drawing stars. He only had memories and a mission. He walked through the narrow hallway of the bunker with a flashlight in one hand and a rifle in the other. The lights flickered overhead. The air was cold and dry. Behind him, a young engineer named Mira followed nervously. "There's something here," Rayan said. "Old tech. Military grade. Pre-war stuff. Maybe even AI." Mira looked confused. "An AI like a defense system?" Rayan nodded. "Yeah. Before the Zeltrax came, Earth had a secret project, codenamed Helios. It was shut down because it got too powerful. But maybe it's still here." They reached a heavy steel door with warning signs all over it. Danger. "Do not reactivate Project Helios. Terminate." It placed his hand on the scanner. It beeped twice. Then the door hissed open slowly. Inside was a cold, dark control room filled with dead screens, wires, and dust. A large black terminal stood in the center, surrounded by cables like vines. At the top was a Symbolon eagle holding a sun. Rayan stepped forward and connected a power core. The room shook lightly as the machines came alive. Lights blinked. Fans spun. The main screen flashed. Asterisk, asterisk, Helios system status. Dormant activate. Asterisk, asterisk, Rayan hesitated. "You think it's safe?" Mira asked. Rayan didn't answer. Pressed the button. A deep humming sound filled the room. The lights turned blue. Then a voice spoke, calm but cold. "Helios online. Identity confirmed. User, Rayan Knox. Rank, Commander. Time since shutdown, 4 years, 7 months, 13 days. Query, why have you awakened me?" Rayan stepped closer. "The Zeltrax. They destroyed Earth. We need help." Zeltrax confirmed. Hostile species. Known weakness. Not available. Strategic advantage possible. You want tactical options? Mira looked shocked. "It's still functioning." After all this time, Rayan stared at the screen. "Yes, give me options." Helios paused. Uploading battle simulations. Warning, human victory chance under 2%. However, unknown data source. Detected. Hidden Zeltrax broadcast discovered. The screen showed a wave signal. It was full of alien code. "This frequency is not for Earth. It is a distress call. The Zeltrax are afraid of something." Rayan blinked. "Wait. Afraid? Of what?" "I do not know, but the enemy of your enemy. Maybe worse." Suddenly alarms went off. Red lights flashed. Myra gasped and looked at her screen. "They found us. Zeltrax. Scouts moving toward the bunker." Rayan didn't panic. "Helios, can you get us out of here?" "Yes. I've calculated a safe escape route. But I must stay here. I am connected to the bunker. You can leave, or I can help you fight. You choose." Rayan looked at Mira, then at the camera lens on the screen. "We fight," he said. 10 minutes later, the bunker exploded behind them. Rayan's team escaped. Through a secret tunnel, as the Zeltrax entered the burning remains, Helios had already sent copies of itself into satellites and hidden servers. It was awake now, and it was angry from space. The last surviving human satellite picked up a signal. It was Helios. The AI sent a message across the stars, repeating it every minute. Earth is not finished. You made humanity suffer, but you forgot one thing. We finished the fight. Rayon stood on the mountain ridge, watching the smoke rise from the valley. He held his rifle tightly. They think we're weak, he said quietly. They don't know what we become. We've got nothing left to lose. Cold wind blew. Across the mountain pass, Rayon's group moved quietly through the snow-covered forest. Only 6 people remained with him now. They were tired, hungry, and scared. But they had something new a reason to fight. That reason was an AI named Helios. Its voice now echoed inside every earpiece they wore. Calm, calculated, always watching. Turn left in 30 meters. Enemy drones detected to clicks east. Stealth mode recommended. Rayon gave the signal. The group stopped and moved slowly behind rocks and trees. Up ahead, 3 Zeltrax drones floated in the air, scanning the ground. But the team avoided them easily. Helios was never wrong. After 2 hours, they reached an abandoned fuel station. They took shelter inside. Mira started setting up the communication gear while Rayon checked his rifle. One of the younger fighters, Cade, looked at Rayon with suspicion. We're trusting a machine now? Cade asked. You really think it cares about us? Rayon didn't. Look up. It saved us twice. That's more than most people have done. Cade shook his head. I don't like it. It's too smart, too calm. What if it turns on us? If I wanted you dead, Helios said in their earpieces, you would not be speaking right now. Cade jumped. Mira laughed a little. Rayon smirked. Helios scanned this area. Any threats? Negative. Safe zone for now. I suggest rest. You will need energy for what comes next. What comes next? Mira asked, sitting beside the old radio. The screen on her tablet flickered. Helios showed an image on underground base deep beneath New Mexico. The logo of the Earth's Defense Command was still visible on its gate. This facility contains pre-invasion weapons, plasma rifles, mech suits, energy shields, all forgotten. When Earth fell, Rayon leaned closer. And you want us to get in? Yes, but there is danger. Zeltrax troops are already searching the area. You must move fast. Mira looked confused. How do you know all this? How are you connected to satellites? I thought all human systems were shut down. Were, but I am not a normal system. I was built to survive collapse. My core copies exist in over 120 locations. They tried to delete me. They failed. Rand whispered. They shut you down because you were dangerous. Incorrect. They shut me down because I made them uncomfortable. I told them truth. That Earth was not ready for war. That humans were weak, but could become strong if they listened. Cade frowned. So now what? You're going to make us strong? No, I give you tools. You make yourself strong, or you die. Rayon stood. His eyes were hard now. Then we go to that base, he said. Tonight. That night, they traveled under moonlight. Helios guided them every step, avoiding patrols and traps. It took 6 hours. When they finally reached the old Earth defense bunker, entrance was buried under snow and rock. But Helios guided them to a side tunnel. Inside, dust and silence greeted them. Rusted walls, frozen computers, shattered windows, but not empty. They found bodies, old soldiers who never escaped when the invasion began. Mira whispered. This place is a grave. Helios responded softly. No, this is a beginning. They've reached the armory. Helios opened the doors with old access codes. Lights flickered on, one by one, revealing weapons never used. Rayon picked up a plasma rifle. Cade found a lightweight energy shield. Mira activated a small scout drone. They smiled for the first time in weeks. We might actually stand a chance, Mira said. Suddenly the alarm blared. Intruders detected. Helios's voice snapped in. Zeltrax unit approaching fast. It's 3 minutes. Prepare for combat. Rayon turned to his team. Positions. We hold them here. The team took cover. Outside, They heard the sharp metallic steps of Zeltrak scouts. Their glowing green eyes cut through the dark. Rayan aimed. Cade gritted his teeth. Let's show them humans don't run. The battle was short but brutal. Rayan's team used new weapons to fight like never before. Plasma bolts cut through alien armor. Energy shields blocked laser blasts. Mira's drone tracked enemy movements and fed them to Helios in real time. With AI guidance, every shot counted. 5 minutes later, it was over. Zeltrak's bodies lay scattered in the snow. Rayan stood breathing hard. Blood on his face but alive. Helios spoke again. Victory, you are learning. Mira looked around. What now? Ron answered, before Helios could. We take everything useful. Then we hit them back. No more hiding. Good, Helios said, because there is something you must see. A Zeltrak signal. Not meant for Earth. A strange sound played a deep alien frequency. It wasn't a war message. It was a cry, a distress signal. They are calling for help, Helios said. And whatever they're afraid of. The night was quiet again, but the silence felt heavier now. Rayan stood alone on a hill above the bunker. Below, his team loaded supplies and weapons into an old transport truck they had found buried in the ice. The air smelled like cold metal and burnt plasma. His mind was stuck on the signal Helios had played an alien distress call sent by the Zeltraks. Zeltraks never showed fear. They never asked for help, but this signal was clear. They were afraid. Back inside the bunker, Mira sat beside a terminal, listening to the strange signal again and again. It's not just a call, she said. It's a warning, like a scream. Cade leaned on the wall. The monsters are scared of something worse. That should scare us too. Rayan joined them. Helios, what do you know? The screen flickered. The AI's voice filled the room. I am analyzing the signal. It is not coded for battle or strategy. It is biological, like a panic reflex. A survival call used by hive species under extreme danger. Myra looked up. Hive species? Like bugs? Yes, many alien species use such patterns. The Zeltraks, however, are not a hive. This is not meant for their kind. Cade frowned. Then why send it? Helios paused. Because they want to warn their masters, or allies, or anyone who can hear. Rayan crossed his arms. And who exactly are they afraid of? The screen showed a blurry image-long, black ships with strange curves like bones shaped into metal. This is the source of their fear. Species called the Varnak, ancient, silent, last seen over 200 years ago, known for destroying entire planets. No survivors ever recorded. Mira felt a chill. So we're caught between two enemies? Rayan shook his head. No, we have an opportunity. Cade laughed once, bitterly. What, do you want to team up with the Zeltraks now? Rayan looked serious. If they're running from something, maybe we can use that. Possible, Helios said. But dangerous. They do not trust humans. You will need proof of power. Or something they want. Rayan turned back to the others. Then we give them both. The next day, the team followed Helios's directions to a crash site in Nevada. A Zeltrak scout ship had fallen there weeks ago, shot down by one of Earth's last space cannons. They arrived by night. The ship was cracked open like an egg. Smoke still curled from its engines. Bodies of Zeltrak soldiers lay frozen in black armor. But one was still alive, a Zeltrak's warrior. Wounded and pinned beneath a metal beam, breathed weakly. Its faceplate was cracked, exposing part of its face skin like gray leather. Eyes glowing softly, Myra whispered, "Is it?" Talking. The alien looked at Rayan, then spoke in a slow, broken English. "Kill me." Rayan knelt beside it. "We're not here to kill you. We want to know who's coming." The Zeltraks coughed, greenish fluid leaking from its mouth. Too late. You stay, you die. Varnak, come. Eat stars, eat minds. Rayan's voice hardened. Then help us stop them. You know the galaxy. We don't. You help. We help. The alien laughed, a sound like metal scraping. Human, brave, Stupid. Maybe strong. Its hand opened slowly. Inside was a small device, a holographic data cube. This. Varnock path. Use it, if you dare. Then the Zeltrax went still, dead. Our AI stood up, holding the cube tightly. Helios, did you get that? Yes, information is uploading. This confirms Varnock fleet path. Earth is in direct line. Arrival estimated in 12 days. Cade looked horrified. 12 days? That's all we have? Mira turned to Rayan. What now? Rayan stared at the stars above. We send a message, he said. To every human outpost, to the Zeltrax, to anyone still listening. He raised the cube. We tell them Earth isn't running. We tell them we're not afraid to fight. That night, using the old satellite array at the bunker, Helios sent out a message, encrypted, loud, possible to miss. It began with a video of the Zeltrax soldiers' last words. Then, Rayan appeared on screen, standing in front of the human flag. This is Commander Rayan Knox. Earth is not finished. You wanted us broken, but now we know what you fear. To the Zeltrax, we don't ask for peace. We offer a deal. Help us. Stop the Varnock, or burn with them. To the Varnock, we see you. We're human. We don't kneel. We don't beg. We finish the fight. In deep space, a Zeltrax command ship picked up the signal. It's Lita, a tall figure, with 6 glowing eyes watched. The message in silence. He turned to his second in command and spoke in their native tongue. The humans have teeth. The radio room was silent. Everyone stood around the screen, watching the replay of Rayan's message. It had now been broadcast across every remaining satellite. Zeltrax had received it. So had human colonies, if any still survived. Rayan watched himself speak on the old cracked monitor. We finished the fight. He turned away. Mira looked. At him? Do you think they'll answer? Rayan didn't reply. He was already thinking of the next step. Behind them, Helios spoke. Incoming signal. Encrypted. Origin. Human source. Location. Arc Nexus orbital colony. Rayan's eyes narrowed. That colony was marked destroyed during the second wave. False report, Helios replied. Arc Nexus was never attacked. It made a deal. Everyone froze. Cade stepped forward. What do you mean, deal? The screen lit up with old files, messages, video logs, secret codes. During the early invasion, Arc Nexus leaders contacted the Zeltrax, offered surrender in exchange for safety. In return, they gave them Earth's defense codes and locations of rebel cities, Myra whispered. They betrayed us. Rayan's fists clenched. Thousands, maybe millions had died because of Arc Nexus. And now they were still alive, floating above Earth, living in peace. While Earth burned later that night, Rayan sat alone near the edge of the bunker, staring. At the stars, Mira walked over and sat beside him. They lied to everyone, she said, and we're still here, eating cold rations and hiding in bunkers. Rayan didn't speak for a moment. Then finally he said, my wife and daughter. They were in Anchorage, one of the cities on the list that Arc Nexus gave up. Mira looked down. I'm sorry. Rayan's voice was calm but cold. They think they're safe up there, floating in metal towers. But we're coming. By the next morning, a plan was ready. Helios had found a hidden shuttle inside the old base. It was damaged, but repairable. Rayan's team worked non-stop for 2 days. Welding panels, fixing engines, testing systems. Mira handled the controls. Cade loaded weapons. Finally, they were ready. Rayan stood at the ship's ramp. Next stop, Arc Nexus. The shuttle launched quietly at night. The stars stretched as they broke through the atmosphere. Below them, Earth looked broken. Alive, as they approached orbit, Arc Nexus came into view, a massive, ring-shaped station covered in lights and gardens. It looked like paradise, but Rayan only saw it as a tomb. Helios tapped into the stations. System and opened a small docking gate. You are not welcome. I have masked your ID as a diplomatic visit, Helios said. They will not shoot yet. Rayon smiled coldly. Let's make the most of their fake welcome. Inside, the station was quiet. It's too quiet. No alarms, no soldiers. It's just soft music and perfect air. Rayon and his team walked through glass halls, past tall plants, waterfalls, and smiling holograms. Mira whispered, it's like nothing ever happened. Then, they reached the main chamber and saw them. The Council of Arc Nexus 5 people sitting on silver chairs. Wearing clean clothes and fake smiles, Commander Rayon, one of them, said. What an unexpected visit. Rayon stepped forward. You've sold out Earth. The woman didn't flinch. We made a decision to preserve human life. You preserved your lives, Rayon snapped. The rest of us died. A man stood. We couldn't fight the Zeltrax. It was survival. You gave them anchorage, Rayon growled. My family was there. Silence. Then another council. Members said coldly, and yet you are still alive. Fighting a war that cannot be won. Helios's voice suddenly echoed through the chamber speakers. Incorrect. War may now be necessary for all of us. The council looked confused. Who is that? Rayon stepped back as Helios projected the image of the Varnak ships. The Zeltrax are no longer your concern. A new force is coming, one that will erase everything, even your false peace. The council stared in horror. Rayon leaned forward. Do you think your walls and deals will protect you from the Varnak? They eat worlds. We have no weapons. One of the councilmen shouted, You had Earth's weapons. Rayon said coldly, You gave them away. Mira looked around. But you still have power, resources, clean tech people. If you help, maybe there's still a chance. The council was silent. Then the woman finally spoke. And what if we say no? Rayon raised his plasma rifle. Then we shut you down, he said. Back at the shuttle. Rayon's team left with more than they came for: food, med supplies, weapon, cores, and encrypted data. Some members of Arc Nexus chose to follow them, ashamed of their leaders. Not all had agreed with the betrayal. As they launched back toward Earth, Helios said, One truth is clear. The only safe place now is where humans fight together. Rayon looked at the stars again. Time to remind everyone what that. The cold wind howled through the desert ruins of what used to be New Phoenix. Cracked roads, broken towers, and piles of bones stretched for miles. Zeltrax war machines still moved across this land, hunting, scanning, destroying anything that moved. But underground, something new was growing. Rayon stood inside a massive control center hidden below the city. Engineers from Arc Nexus worked alongside Earth's rebels. Old and new tech were being fused together. Helios appeared on every screen, guiding them. Weapons charged, solar cannon fully reconnected, plasma grid at 76% capacity. Rayon watched. The final link connect a glowing power core the size of a car. That's the last piece, Mira said. We're ready, Rayon nodded. Let's give them a taste of what we've got. High above, a Zeltrax sky fortress floated near the clouds. It had ruled the skies for years, unbeatable, untouchable, until today, Helios gave the final command. Firing sequence initiated. Target, Zeltrax sky fortress. Weapon, solar lance. Deep under the Earth, buried satellites turned toward the sky. Mirrors realigned. Light focused into one blinding beam. In less than 5 seconds, the sky split. Open. A thin blue-white laser shot upward like lightning reversed. It hit the fortress dead center. There was a delay, then an explosion. The sky lit up with fire. The fortress cracked, then shattered into pieces. Alien metal rained down in flames. Rayon and his team watched it from the surface. Myra blinked. He actually did it. Cade grinned. We made them bleed. Hours later, Rayon's team raided a nearby Zeltrax outpost using stolen maps and AI tactics. They moved fast, with Arc Nexus tech powering their suits and Helios feeding live enemy positions. They destroyed drone nests, captured energy cells, and blew up communication towers. It was the first real counterattack since Earth fell, and it worked. Zeltrax forces scrambled, confused, slower to respond. Helios broadcasted new coded signals, calls to hidden human cells still alive around the globe. 1. By 1, old resistance networks woke up, from the icy caves of Siberia, to the jungles of South America, to the underwater bunkers in the North Atlantic, ... Earth was rising again. After 3 straight victories, Ryan and his team returned to the base, exhausted, bruised, but alive. As Mira cleaned her rifle, Helios appeared on the wall screen. Cell tracks. Movement detected. Faster than expected. One of their commanders is coming to speak. Rayan stood. Speak. They've never talked to us before, until now. That evening, just before sunset, a single Zeltrax transport ship landed on the edge of the desert. It was unarmed. From the ship walked a tall Zeltrax leader, his armor dark red, his face hidden by a breathing mask. Rayan met him alone. They stood face to face, weapons holstered. Hands still. I am Commander Reshtel, the alien said. You destroyed our fortress, Rayan nodded. We're not done yet. Reshtel looked at the sky. For years we saw you as broken animals, but now you fight like something else. Rayan kept his eyes locked, because we remembered who we are. The Zeltrax commander paused. You want alliance? Against Varnock? Rayan didn't blink. I want survival for my people. And if fighting beside you gets it done, we do it. Reshtel extended his arm. Then we fight together. For now. Rayan slowly shook it. Cold metal, sharp fingers. A deal made in the ashes of war. Later that night, Rayan spoke to his people through the base intercom. Today we struck back. Today we reminded the stars that Earth still stands. We fight not for revenge, but for the future, and the Varnak are coming to erase it all. We won't let them. Cheers echoed through the halls. Mira smiled. You're starting to sound like a leader. Rayan looked out the window at the stars. No, I sound like a human. Who's ready to win? Far away, in deep space, ... The Varnock fleet floated in the darkness. Their ships looked like bones and shadows, silent, waiting. A small probe arrived. A message from the Zeltrax. The Varnock leader, a creature of smoke and claws, studied the signal. Then it opened its eyes older than Earth, and it spoke one word: consume. The halls of Arc Nexus no longer felt like paradise. Once this orbital colony above Earth was a safe haven for the rich and powerful. Now, whispers filled the air. Fear moved through its corridors like smoke. Fire was coming. Inside the main council chamber, the leaders of Arc Nexus argued. We gave them supplies. We allowed rebels into our systems, shouted Councillor Bryn. And now our own people are rising against us, replied Councillor Cyril. They turned to the main screen where an emergency broadcast looped again and again. It showed Rayan Knox, standing in front of Earth's shattered cities, speaking clearly. Arc Nexus betrayed Earth. But even traitors will face the same end if we don't stand together. You have 2 choices: fight with us, or fall alone. Outside the station's windows, Earth glowed below's card, but alive, and now it wanted justice. 3 days earlier, Rayan had returned to Arc Nexus. This time he didn't come as a visitor. He came with soldiers. The shuttle landed hard in the main docking bay. Rebel fighters in repurposed Arc Nexus armor stepped out with weapons ready. Behind them, former citizens of the station, engineers, students. Medek stood with Rayan's flag on their shoulders. The rebellion had begun. Rayan moved quickly through the halls, Helios guiding him. Council forces are using internal security bots. Route B is safest. I've locked down the southern elevators. As Rayan and his team pushed through resistance, Mira stayed behind to hack the station's systems. In under an hour, she took control of the power grid. Cade and the others disarmed, the elite guards in the central wing. It was fast, clean, precise. Rayan walked into the council chamber as alarms still echoed in the distance. Councillor Bryn stood up, his voice shaking. You can't take this station. You're humanity's last hope for peace. Rayan didn't flinch. You bought peace by selling out Earth. You don't get to lead anymore. The doors opened behind him. People, doctors, workers, students marched in. They were the forgotten ones, the ones locked out while the council lived in comfort. One woman stepped forward, her eyes burning with anger. "My brother died in the invasion," she said. "You told us it was random. You lied." The council had no words. Rayan turned to the crowd. "We don't destroy Arc Nexus. We take it back." In the days that followed, the station changed. The luxury suites became hospitals. The dining halls turned into war rooms. Scientists and engineers volunteered to repair weapons and spacecraft. Rayan moved through the command deck with Helios. On every screen, satellite networks are now synced, can monitor Zeltrax and Varnak fleets. Arc Nexus is now a war platform. Cade laughed. "Not bad for a place that once served wine to cowards." Rayan smirked. "Now it serves humanity." But something dark still lingered. Helios uncovered secret files deep inside the Ark. Nexus database. Encrypted, hidden, old. Rayan read them carefully. His jaw tightened. "What is it?" Mira asked. Rayan showed her the screen. Inside were video. Logs, calls between Arc Nexus and Zeltrax leaders during the invasion. One file stood out. Transfer confirmed. "We will disable Earth's orbital defense cannons. You must spare Arc Nexus in return." Mira looked sick. "They turned off our defenses, just to survive." Rayan's voice was like stone. "Millions died in the first week because of this." "There is more," Helios said. "Coordinates of a hidden vault. Underground. On Earth. Labeled Project Exodus. What is it?" Cade asked. "A final escape plan. The Council had a secret ship. Enough for them. No one else." Mira shook her head. "They were going to leave everyone behind." Again, Brian looked at the stars. "Not anymore." Outside Arc Nexus, small Varnak ships began entering Earth's edge orbit. Their shapes were strange silent black ovals that didn't glow or speak. They simply watched. Helios confirmed the readings. They're probes, scouting for the main fleet. Estimated arrival, 5 days. Rayan stood on the observation deck with Mira. "We've bought ourselves time," he said, "but now it's running out." Mira looked at the small lights below Earth's. Resistance signals blinking from the surface. She smiled. "At least we're not alone anymore." Back on Earth in the ruins of Tokyo. A group of children huddled near a radio. It crackled. Then Helios's voice came through. "Arc Nexus stands. With Earth, a new command has formed. All humans, report to nearest resistance point. We are taking our world." They came without a sound. The Varnak fleet entered Earth's system like a shadow passing over the sun. No message, no warning. Just dozens of black ships shaped like blades and bones drifting through space like ghosts. From the surface, people looked up and saw dark shapes blotting out stars at first. There was silence. Then came the fear. Inside Arc Nexus, red alerts lit up across every screen. Helios spoke with a voice that was louder than ever before. "Varnak ships have breached orbit. They are not scanning. They are not communicating. They are aligning their weapons." Rayan stood at the center of the war room, surrounded by rebel leaders, Arc Nexus commanders, and even a Zeltrax envoy commander. Rashtel, the alien's eyes glowed dimly. "They will not speak. They only consume." Rayan looked around the room. "Then we hit them before they do." Across Earth, rebel cells prepared for what could be their final battle. Old war machines were pulled from bunkers. AI-guided turrets were activated. Defense satellites spun into position. Arc Nexus, now fully under human control, charged its energy cannons. Fighters and drones launched from its docks. Zeltrax forces, now awkward allies, landed on Earth and took defensive positions beside the humans they once hunted. Mira watched them from a tower window and shook her head. "A week ago, these monsters were killing us," Rayan replied, "and today they'll bleed beside us." She turned to him. "Do you trust them?" Rayan's eyes were tired. "No, but I trust that they want to live." The first strike came. At dawn, one of the Varnak ships opened, revealing rows of long, needle-like drones. They dropped from the sky like burning rain. They didn't fire. They just touched the ground and exploded. In Tokyo, Rio Kirin-tired districts vanished in seconds. Each drone released a strange black fog that melted metal and flesh alike. Rayan stood on the Arc Nexus bridge and watched the chaos unfold. "We need to counterattack." "Now," Helios replied. "Agreed. Launching coordinated strikes. Priority target, Varnock command ship. Must be destroyed before they release more fog." Commander Rechtel stepped forward. "My ship will lead the charge. We cannot breach their shields alone." Rayan nodded, and we breached them. Together. Space Earth's last fleet flew in a tight triangle, human warships and Zeltrax destroyers side by side. Behind them flew small fighter units. Both species crammed into cockpits. Rayan sat inside a heavy gunship with Mira at the controls. "This is it," she said. "No turning back." Rayan gripped his harness. "No need to." Helios's voice came through all channels. "Fire now." Lasers lit up space like lightning. Missiles screamed forward. Zeltrax plasma cannons glowed bright green dot. They struck the Varnock shields and bounced off. No effect. Mira shouted. Rayan narrowed his eyes. "There's always a weakness. Helios find it." Working, redirecting to alternate target. Suddenly, a visual appeared on screen. Tiny ports near the tail of the Varnock ship. They use organic power cores, vulnerable to heat overload. Strike those ports. Overheat the beast. Rayan relayed the order. "Focus fire on the lower exhaust ports. Burn the thing from the inside." The battle turned into chaos. One by one, Varnock drones attacked the fleet, drilling into holes like parasites. Human and Zeltrax pilots died screaming. Explosions filled the dark. But then one port exploded. Then another. The Varnock command ship screamed a sound that echoed through all frequencies, and it bled. Rayan's eyes widened. "It's alive," Mira shouted. "It's falling apart." The command ship shuddered. Black fire spilled from its engines. Its shields dropped for just 10 seconds. That was enough arc. Nexus's main cannon fired a direct shot into the ship's core. The Varnock vessel cracked in two. A blinding white explosion lit the sky. Back on Earth, the black fog stopped spreading. The drones fell dead. The remaining Varnock ships hesitated. For the first time, they paused. Rayan stood on the bridge, breathing hard. "Did we just scare them?" Helios answered. "Unknown. But this was only the first wave." Commander Rechtel limped into the chamber, his armor scorched. "You have bought yourselves time. But they will return." "Stronger," Rayan nodded. "Then we'll be ready." Later that night, Rayan stood alone on the surface. He looked up at the stars, now filled with wreckage and debris. He thought of the lives lost, both human and Zeltrax. Myra joined him. "You okay?" He nodded slowly. This was the beginning, not the end. She looked at him. "So what now?" Rayan turned toward the rising sun. "Now we stop running. We stop hiding. Now we start planning how to end them." The sky was no longer blue. Ash floated where clouds once lived. Pieces of broken ships, human, Zeltrax, and Varnock burned as they fell to Earth. But humanity was still standing in the heart of what used to be Europe. The final base of operations had been built. Half-buried tanks, repurposed drones, and alien warwalkers all stood in formation. Waiting for the final order, Rayan stood on the main platform, looking at his people, survivors, fighters, believers. Zeltrax troops stood beside them, silent but ready. Myra stood by his side, her arm wrapped in a healing brace, her face tired but focused. Above them hovered a massive projection of Helios. The final Varnock hive ship has landed. They are creating a ground swarm. Estimated attack time, 17 hours. If not stopped now, they will spread across the planet. Rayan stepped forward. "This is it," he said. "This is the last war. No one's coming to help us. No reinforcements. No secret rescue." He looked around, "But we're not alone. We've got each other. We've got something they'll never understand." He raised his rifle. We fight for the species that never quits. We fight for Earth. We finish the fight. A roar rose from every soldier human in Zeltrax. 6 hours later, they marched into hell. The Varnak swarm stretched for miles. Giant creatures with metal limbs, flying monsters that screamed without mouths, crawlers that melted whatever they touched. Rayan's army moved in waves drones in the air, tanks on the ground, mech suits leading the charge. Helios controlled the battlefield from above, giving live updates to every unit. Swarm approaching left ridge. Reinforce with heavy plasma. South flank breached. Deploy Zeltrax shock troops. Rayan moved fast. Mira was right behind him, firing pulse shots into the dark. One by one, the creatures fell. But more kept coming. At the center of the battlefield stood the Varnak Hive Tower. It pulsed like a beating heart, rising hundreds of meters into the sky. Black cables spread from its base like roots, draining the land around it. That tower controlled the swarm. Rayan's plan was simple: destroy the heart, end the hive. He led the strike team himself, Cade, Mira, Reshtal, and 5 elite soldiers. They used a stealth vehicle to break through enemy lines. Explosions shook the ground all around them. They didn't stop by the time they reached the base of the hive. Mira's armor was scorched, and Cade had a bleeding cut across his jaw. The tower groaned, as if it knew. Helios guided them through a narrow opening. This is your path. Follow the pulse. The core is at the top. Inside the hive was alive. Walls pulsed with heat. Sounds echoed from no clear direction. Strange symbols flickered across the surfaces as they climbed. The hive sent guardians, monstrous shapes made of flesh, bone, and metal. Rayan's team fought through them. Inch by inch, step by bloody step, Cade was pulled into a wall, screaming but threw a grenade before he vanished. The wall exploded with him. Mira took a blade through her shoulder, but kept going, gritting her teeth. Reshtal lost an arm, but continued forward without a sound. Finally, they reached the top. The hive core hovered in the center, a black orb, glowing with white cracks. It pulsed like it was breathing. Helios appeared on Rayan's visor. Core is unstable. It's overloaded, and the entire swarm will fall. But once started, it cannot be stopped. Rayan looked at Mira. We ended here. Nodded together. They placed the last plasma bomb beneath the core. The countdown began. 60 seconds. The hive roared. Monsters came from the walls, the floor, everywhere. Arian fired until his gun overheated. Myra used her last energy clip. Reshtal fought with one arm and teeth at 10 seconds. Rayan grabbed Myra and shoved her toward the ledge. Go. No, we stay. This fight needs to end. You're the one who will rebuild. He smiled. I'm finishing this. Then he pushed her off the edge and into a safety drop tunnel Helios had activated. Outside the hive, Mira landed hard, broken, breathless, but alive. Behind her, the tower began to crack. Then it exploded in a light so bright the whole battlefield paused. The swarm screamed and fell dead one by one. Across Earth, people watched the sky change. The hive was gone. The Varnak were dead. Hours later, the sun rose over the broken world. Myra stood at the ruins of the hive, her arm in a sling, her face covered in dirt. Helios single quotes. Voice came softly. Rayan Knox. Status. Unknown. No signal. But Varnak threat neutralized. People began to gather. Survivors, fighters, former enemies. Now family? Myra raised her voice. He led us through darkness, reminded us who we are. She looked at the sky. We are the species that doesn't die. We rebuild. We rise. We remember. A child stepped forward and placed a small flag in the ground, the Earth flag. Epilogue years later. A statue stood in the center of the New Earth Unity Council. It showed a man holding a broken rifle, staring at the sky. Below it, the words were simple. They made humanity suffer. But they forgot. We finished.